Once upon a time, at the edge of a dark forest, there lived a poor woodcutter and his two children, Hansel and Gretel. Their stepmother often scolded them, for there was hardly enough bread to fill everyone's belly. Each night, the woodcutter sighed, wishing he could give his children more, while the stepmother whispered cruel plans in the shadows. One evening, when the cupboard was nearly bare, the stepmother hissed, "There is no more food. Tomorrow, you must take the children deep into the woods and leave them there. Perhaps someone else will care for them." The woodcutter's heart broke, but he was too weak to refuse. He agreed, though tears filled his eyes. Hansel, lying awake, had heard every word. As soon as the house fell silent, he slipped outside. Moonlight shimmered on the smooth white pebbles near the doorstep. Hansel filled his pockets with as many as he could carry, then crept back to bed beside his sister. At dawn, the stepmother woke them sharply. "Get up, you lazy children. We are going into the forest to gather wood." She gave them each a crust of bread and hurried them along the winding path. As they walked, Hansel secretly dropped one white pebble after another so they would leave a trail home. At last, they reached a clearing deep in the trees. The father built a small fire. "Rest here," he said, voice trembling. "We will be back soon." But as the day wore on, no one returned. Gretel wept and clung to Hansel. When the moon rose, the white stones glowed like little stars, showing them the way. Hand in hand, they followed the path all the way home. Their stepmother was furious when she saw them at the door, but she said nothing. The woodcutter, though, embraced them with relief. For a few days, things were calm until the food ran out again. One night, the stepmother whispered the same cruel plan, but this time, she locked the door so Hansel could not gather pebbles. In the morning, she thrust a stale crust of bread into Hansel's hands. As they walked, he crumbled it bit by bit, dropping the crumbs behind them. Once again, the parents left the children alone beside a small fire. Night fell, but when Hansel searched for the breadcrumb trail, he found nothing. Birds had eaten every piece. Gretel began to cry. "What will we do?" she sobbed. Hansel tried to be brave. "Don't worry," he said. "We will find our way." But the trees loomed tall and black, and the path was nowhere to be seen. For 3 days they wandered, growing weaker and hungrier. Just as they were about to give up, they came upon a strange cottage tucked among the trees. The walls were made of gingerbread, the roof of sugared icing, and the windows of sparkling sugar. A sweet, warm smell drifted from the chimney. Hansel's eyes widened. "Gretel, look! We can eat!" Without thinking, he broke off a piece of the wall and tasted it. It was delicious, soft and sweet. Gretel nibbled on a sugar window pane. Suddenly, the door creaked open and an old woman appeared. Her eyes were small and glittering, her nose hooked like a branch. She leaned on a gnarled cane. "Oh, dear children," she croaked, smiling. Come in, come in. You look so tired and thin. You must rest and eat." The children, too hungry to be cautious, stepped inside. The house smelled of warm cake and cinnamon. The old woman gave them plates piled with food and tucked them into soft feather beds. But as soon as they closed their eyes, her kind face twisted into a cruel grin. She was a witch who lured children to her house to cook them. The next morning, Hansel woke to find himself locked in an iron cage. Gretel screamed, but the witch seized her by the arm. "Quiet, girl! You will do as I say. I will fatten up your brother, and when he is plump enough, I shall bake him." Each day, she fed Hansel rich food while giving Gretel scraps. But Gretel was clever. When the witch demanded Hansel stick out his finger to check if he was fat enough, Hansel held out a small bone he had saved. The witch, half blind, felt the thin bone and grumbled. Still too lean. At last, the witch grew impatient. She opened the oven and ordered Gretel to climb in to check the heat. But Gretel pretended not to understand. "Show me how, please." The witch bent forward to demonstrate, and in that instant, Gretel pushed her hard. The witch tumbled in, and Gretel slammed the door shut. She freed Hansel, and together they searched the cottage, finding chests filled with gold and jewels. They filled their pockets and hurried into the woods. Soon they came upon the familiar path home. When their father saw them, he wept for joy. Their stepmother had vanished, and now they had enough treasure to live happily ever after. Moral: courage and cleverness can overcome even the darkest dangers.